Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the first episode of Questionable Advice. I'm Simone Holder,
And I'm Ashley.
and this is very exciting.
Yes, I'm just sharing this on my page.
Okay.
I don't know how to multitask. Multitasking is difficult. All right, I think I've got it shared.
Okay. So the format of this show is we're answering questions in 3 sections. So they're going to be questions regarding like relationships and personal stuff like that, and then a general section which could be anything, and then we'll also be answering questions about work. So
Everyone loves work.
everyone loves work questions. Exactly.
All right, so I'm just trying to set so I can also see the questions on Facebook. Okay. So do we want to start with this question?
Yeah, let's just dive into it.
All right. So first question. My brother-in-law and his wife sometimes stay with us. Our guest room is right next to our 4-year-old daughter's room. While she loves hanging out with Uncle Jamie and Aunt Carol, there's a big problem. When they have sex, which is frequently, they sound like howler monkeys, only louder. It freaks my daughter out, who thinks that they're fighting or that someone's getting hurt, and makes everything uncomfortable. When, if COVID is over, they want to come stay with us. Our daughter misses them immensely. What should we do? Now, before I turn this over for answers, I would like for you guys, I hope this works. This is what a howler monkey sounds like.
I don't hear the sound.
Well.
But I watched this, was it yesterday? And it was just it's not exactly a howl, but it's just like a really strange sound.
All right, so what do you think? What do we do?
Just off the bat, I think that if you're staying at someone's house and you like really absolutely must have sex in someone else's house, at least, I don't know, be courteous, like don't have the loud screechy sex that you usually have at home. Like if you're so inclined that you absolutely have to have it, keep it down. At least, like, be discreet and be, you're a guest in someone's house. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I find that really like disrespectful. It's rude, I think. And, obviously they're like cherished members of the family, and like the little girl loves to see them and stuff like that. But I think before the writer considers allowing them to stay in their house, they need to say something. They need to say, look, you're going to go at it fine or not fine, depending. Like the writer doesn't seem to say anything about like, how dare they have sex in my house? They're more concerned about the noise. Mm-hmm. So maybe the issue of having sex in the house isn't an issue. So if that's the case, they still need to have a conversation like that involves like the words "keep it down" or something, that everyone can hear you. You're scaring the kid. She thinks somebody's being hurt.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's also like forcing the writer to have a conversation with their daughter that they may not be prepared to have, or the child might not be old enough to understand, or whatever. They're forcing them into a conversation that they may not be ready for.
Oh yeah. My kid's turning 12 this year, and we have put that talk off for a very long time. I've not conducted that before.
God. But because the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, I've never had sex at somebody's house, but keep it down. Like, scream into a pillow if you need to. Keep it down. That's all. You're a guest.
Yes.
It's not your house.
there are positions that are geared towards silence. You can
Yeah,
explore one of them.
doggy style, you could just be like,
Into the
to
pillow,
the
yeah.
the mattress if necessary.
I
But
mean, missionary, you can get each other's mouths, you know?
doggy, you could be like with a
Yeah, there
stick,
are
like
options.
yeah, they're exactly there are things you can do. It's a different story if you're in your own house and you have guests staying with you and you want to have your wild loud sex. Still a little rude since you have guests in your house, but it's your house.
Yeah.
You know, it's your house. In this situation, you're not in your house, so that's kind of gauche
Yes,
to be that
I
loud.
agree. I'd add, I think it should be the spouse, so like whoever the brother-in-law's
Yes.
sibling is.
Yeah.
I think it should be that person to sit down
Exactly.
one-on-one.
Yeah,
I
because there's
haven't
no
heard,
need for like fighting or yelling or any sort of
yeah,
scene. It's a conversation.
I there's a slide that's coming up later that's about tips on having a difficult conversation with people. And that's, I mean, review the slide, but like
Mhm.
prepare for that conversation. The tips are like
Yeah.
approach it from a spot of innocence as opposed to being accusatory, but like,
Yeah.
are you aware that you're so loud? We have compared you to howler monkeys. Who I did some
Have
research.
you heard a holler monkey before? You play the tape.
Exactly. Howler
And
monkey.
also realize that the person might get defensive. They, out of
Well, yeah,
embarrassment, they might get defensive. So that's something to,
exactly.
yeah.
I just my howler monkey research.
Oh, yeah.
They can howl at volumes reaching nearly 140 decibels, and they can be heard for as far as 5 kilometers away,
Holy shit. And they said they were louder.
or one Karen asking for a manager.
Oh. Oh my God.
All right, do we want to move on to the next question? Since I think you
Yeah.
and I completely agree on this,
Yes.
like
Yes.
just have some good comments.
Yeah, exactly.
I will have to add, many years ago when my dad was alive. Hopefully, my stepmom's not watching this. When my dad was alive, my then partner and I stayed there, and we contemplated having sex, but we were both aware that sometimes quiet wasn't a thing that we did. So we just didn't have sex.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a hard thing to do.
It is an option.
And just think about it, like the fact that you can't makes it like hotter. So when you do get home, then you could do your howler monkey swinging from the chandelier
Well,
stuff, you know?
and I mean, how are they getting to like this house? I assume they have a car. Go for a drive.
Yeah, exactly. Go for a drive, go parking, go park somewhere and have
Yeah.
at it, you know?
Ah. All right. Okay.
So many solutions.
I'm gonna put up the next slide.
Okay. And I read this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to put up the next slide. There we go.
Okay. Lockdown sucks. I'm normally a very social person and it's killing me. To make things easier, I have been planning a spa weekend with 2 of my friends for when this all ends. I'm fortunate enough to have quite a bit of savings and my income hasn't been affected too much by the lockdown. My friends, on the other hand, have not been so lucky. One is still working but does not make a lot. The other is collecting CERB while she waits for the restaurants to reopen. I can easily afford to pay for the 3 of us to have a fantastic weekend and was, in fact, planning on surprising them with this news soon. However, my mom thinks it's a bad idea. She thinks that this gesture will offend my friends. What do you think? That's a tough one. That's a hard situation to be in.
So I'm gonna come at this from the poor friend perspective because I'm always the poor friend.
Okay.
And as the poor friend, I'd be flattered as fuck that a friend of mine wanted to spend their money on me. My only concern to be if this person had a habit of spending money and then lording it over my head. So like,
Yeah.
oh, I bought you this purse, so that's why I've been a major asshole to you and you have to put up with it. Or even just constant reminders of, oh, that's a nice purse, or someone special must have got that for you, or oh, that's a nice whatever. So as long as those little almost barbs wouldn't be involved, I think it would be totally fine. Like I have a coworker, she's probably watching actually, she's a very good friend and coworker, who gave me like super fucking expensive shoes, amazing dresses. She's never once like lorded it over my head. When she compliments me on them, it's never like, oh, that's a nice dress. You look so nice in that dress. Like, so there is a way to like do an exceptionally nice thing for someone without being an asshole about it. And as long as that was the case. And another thing I would say to this woman, speaking as the poor friend, is the woman asking the question knows her friends better than her mom does. So,
Yeah.
I mean, moms are always looking out for their kids because no one wants their kid to get hurt. But at the same time, like, you're probably a grown ass woman who knows your friends well. That's yeah. What do you think? I'm all for it. As the poor friend.
Right.
I'm like,
I'm
who
coming
is
from
person?
I'm
Sign me
coming
up.
from the other side, not wealthy by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, I'm still working, I have a good job, you know, things like that. And I don't see a problem with it. I think if it's if these are your close friends, like, you know, if you can talk to them about money or not. You know how you should know if they're close to you, you should now know how they would react to something like that, because it could be they could be embarrassed, they could be thrilled and flattered, or they could
Yeah.
be embarrassed by it, or yeah, or they could just be offended, embarrassed, or whatever. And so I think knowing your friend's reaction, and I also agree with you with you're doing it as a gesture, not as leverage.
Yeah.
To say, you know, yeah, we went to this spa trip, remember? Or, you know, it doesn't give the giver carte blanche to do or say anything to their friend because they did this thing. You know what I mean? So I think I don't know. I think I would be cautious in terms of like talking about it with the friends. You know, because there could be the thing, maybe the two friends don't like spa weekends.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they don't like spa weekends, and so have the conversation, hey, I think it'd be a great idea if we went on a spa trip, and it's on me. You know, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, whatever. And if they're like, ooh, I don't like going to a spa or whatever, or just having the discussion and suggesting something, we can go to the spa, or we could just go here, we could do this or this or this. You know, it's on me. What do you guys want to do? There are different ways of approaching it, but I think the main thing is you have to know your friends well, because the last thing I would want to do is embarrass my friend. You know, because I know a lot of people, like, I have no issue talking about money with my friends, you know, in terms of like, this is out of my budget, I can't do this, you know, or can we look for you know, a better priced option or something like that. I'm not afraid to have those conversations, because I've also been the poor friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that even though I know it was coming from a, like, in those days, it was coming from a good place, but it was like, let me decide if I can afford it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if the friends say, you know what, that sounds like a great idea, but I don't have the money, or I really can't right now because my employment situation is precarious, you know, I don't know if I can afford it. I think at least give them the option to say, yeah, I'd love to do it, but I can't afford it, or no, I don't want to do it at all. You know, because we don't always know someone's situation, and we can't really make the assumption that they can't afford it.
That's true.
You know? Yeah, because maybe they can. Maybe, you know, they every paycheck or whatever, they put money aside for like something like that, some kind of trip or something like that. That they're like, yeah, I've got a little bit of money saved that I can use for that, or I'm going to save up for that. So yeah, that I find that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It could be tricky because it could be as simple as, let's go to the spa, it's on me, yay, we all go to the spa, you know.
Yeah.
Or someone could feel resentful that you've even asked or you've even offered to pay for them. And yeah, so yeah, that's awkward. But I think a lot of that could be mitigated or reduced by having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
how,
Reading
as
the room.
close as you are, you'll know their situation.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, it doesn't have to be, it could be something like, hey, let's all plan to do XYZ in a year and a half. Gives everybody time. No one's in a crunch like, oh shit, I got to come up with this money in a month. You know, I got to come up with $1,500 in a month, sort of thing, you know? Yeah. And another thing, again, depending on the friends, because there could be friends that could make the assumption that, well, you have money, you can pay for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing that I think has to be, you know, if you're the friend that's always paying and the other person or other people never make an effort to pay, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. I get the
Because
impression
I've been in that situation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the impression that she's just trying to do like one nice big gesture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if it's one nice big gesture and they're like really good friends, I think it's a nice gesture.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
long as she can afford it, she shouldn't be putting herself in debt or in a bit of a hole to do that, you know?
Yeah. Well, then resentment would come into play.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's the worst. Resentment over money is the worst.
We want to move on?
Yep.
All right. I'll get better at this eventually. All right. Here we go. Is it my turn to read? I think so.
It is.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. We'll definitely get better at this whole remembering thing. All right. So since lockdown started, I've been working remotely, keeping in touch with my team via Zoom calls. At the beginning, I would still apply a full face of makeup, but as time goes on, I've been doing so less often. Whenever I do a Zoom call without any makeup, one manager in particular will ask if I've come down with something or if I'm sick, or make some comment like that. He doesn't say anything when I am wearing makeup. It's starting to really bother me. What should I do? And
this one bugs me.
I'm going to put that screen up now so that we can go back to it. After we end. All right.
Okay.
So you go first. I will mention I'm going to come at it from a somewhat familiarity with legislation perspective.
Okay.
So
I'm going to come at it from someone who doesn't wear a lot of makeup. You know, if the mood strikes me, I'll wear it. If it doesn't, I don't. I know I've been in the situation, let's say I was at a job where I wore makeup every day. And when I didn't wear makeup, I got the, are you okay? I've gotten that. But like right where I work right now, I don't really wear a lot of makeup. And my concern with this question is the manager is noticing. He notices when she's wearing makeup, he's noticing when she doesn't. I just think it's a dick move that he's asking her. First of all, he's commenting on her appearance at all.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, okay, as long as you look presentable, your hair is combed, your face is washed, you know, you look professional from the waist up, sort of thing. And that doesn't necessarily involve wearing makeup. You know, as long as you don't show up on these work Zoom calls in your pajamas and you're half asleep and you're not paying attention, as long as you're presentable, that should be the manager's only concern. I I don't know. I think it would depend on this person's position. Is the manager a peer? Is it somebody way over? Because like my thing would be to like call it out, but like in an innocent way. Like, I was fine yesterday, or like, why are you, I'm fine. What makes you think I'm sick? Like, I feel
Yeah,
fine.
play dumb.
Yeah, play dumb. Like, I'm not sick at all. Like, why do you ask? Let them tell you, oh, well, yesterday you had blue eyeshadow on and today you don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, nobody. I'm not just saying this because the manager in question is male. No one should be, as long as you look presentable on your call, that should be it.
Yeah.
You know, you're working from home. You don't have to wear makeup if you don't want to. You don't have to wear makeup if you don't want to. You know, and whether you do or you don't, comment shouldn't be made about it. Yeah, because that's kind of, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Well, then what about?
And it's in front of everybody. It's in front of your group or whatever. You know, it could be in front of 5 other people or 15 other people. Like, you know, if you're so compelled to ask in private.
Yeah.
You know, don't embarrass a person like that.
There is no universe in which the presence or absence of blue eyeshadow is an indicator of health. Like,
exactly. Because sometimes I put on makeup like if I'm sick to try and like mask being sick, and I end up looking more sick.
Well, yeah. Eyeliner's running down my face.
Exactly, because you're like, oh yeah, or you're feverish and it's just running off. Like, yeah, makeup's not an indicator of health, or you know. And it's like, why, Bill? Why do you insist I wear makeup, Bill? Why is it such a problem for you, Bill?
Yeah.
You know, do you want to wear makeup, Bill? Is that it? Yeah, like no one has to wear. Yeah, I think as long as you're presentable. And I was wondering if did she say that she wore makeup at the office?
She didn't.
Okay. Because I don't know, like if just because you wore a full face of makeup at the office, maybe one day you don't feel like wearing makeup for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I don't know, maybe you just don't want to, or you didn't have time to do it, or whatever. You're changing your look.
Yeah.
Did you have to like warn everybody, I'm changing my look, I may not be wearing makeup from now on? Just consider yourself warned. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's dumb.
Completely agree.
What are your thoughts?
I like the play dumb, like force the person to acknowledge that they think you're ill because you didn't put sparkles on your face. Like, I want to hear that person acknowledge that you chose not to put colored dyed chemicals on your face one particular day means something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to play dumb. But I would recommend that conversation happen in private, but that you record it.
Yes.
Because who knows? It's probably innocent. The guy's probably just being a dick because it's quarantine or whatever. He can. But it could be the beginning of a bigger problem. So I would recommend documenting it as early on as possible.
Yeah.
I was sexually harassed at a place I worked at, and I did not start documenting it early on, and I regret that. So I would recommend. And
same with me. Same with me.
We all have that.
And that's the first thing that they ask you, like, do you have proof?
Yeah.
And again, it's putting the onus on the attacked, you know.
I also want to just mention too, like, I'm not pro or anti makeup at work. I feel like you do you. Just for the record, I clearly love my makeup.
Yeah, I like makeup too. Yeah.
But if someone doesn't, whatever. Like.
It's not a big deal. It's like, the end of the day, it's you do you. It's like, and if someone wearing makeup or not wearing makeup really rattles you, you got to ask yourself why.
Why? Yeah. Why
does that bother you so much? Yeah.
Yeah. Whether or not I put color pigment on my face is upsetting to someone else.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's not like a dress code or it's not a
And
policy.
even if it was, this is the fun part for me.
Yeah.
When I saw the question came up, I spent most of last night doing some legal research into it because I'm quite a dork. And in Ontario, in particular, there has been 0 cases that have been reported where someone has been forced to wear makeup at work, and the Court of Ontario has said, yes, you must wear makeup. You can have at your job, you can have gendered uniforms. So if you choose to present as male, you could be asked to dress like this. If you choose to present as female, you may be asked to dress like this. Obviously, the legislation doesn't account for non-binary individuals, which is definitely problematic. However, those gendered uniforms still can't be gendered to the point of sexual exploitation or where a woman's looks are being played up to advance the organization. So makeup really technically couldn't be, the only reason you wear makeup is to make yourself, to make yourself feel better about yourself, right? Like you wear makeup to draw attention or to take attention away or whatever.
Yeah.
The only reason an employer would ask you to wear makeup is to make you look sexualized.
Yeah. Or if it's like a mandatory part of your job. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like a fucking clown.
If you're a model, for example.
Yeah.
You know?
But like the regular, like if you're working at a restaurant, if you're working wherever, you can't be mandated to wear makeup. Again, there haven't been any cases that say you can't. But you would argue that this is a gendered request, that I'm being told to wear makeup to make me look more sexually appealing. The only cases where that's been a problem, they've been settled out of court.
Okay.
And that's probably because the lawyers on the other side have been like, you can't ask her to put on lipstick.
Exactly. Exactly.
So there is a slide that I'll show with legal resources that touch on this issue in case it comes up for other people. And I'll put the JPEG as a comment to this video later so that people can refer to that if they choose to. By the same token, if you choose to present as male, or if you're born male and or assigned male at birth, sorry, and you choose to wear makeup, you also can't be told not to wear makeup. So like if you're considered a guy at work, they can't say like, Mark, you can't wear lipstick because we think you're a dude. They can't do that either. So like the same thing applies. They can't tell you to wear makeup, but they also can't tell you not to wear makeup.
Not to wear it.
Yeah.
On that same vein, I wonder if you know this, or if there is legislation about it, about hair. Because I know in the States, like there have been people who've been like targeted at work that they can't wear their hair in its natural state because it's distracting or so. So they're basically trying to force someone to chemically process their hair. So is there any precedent here of things like that happening? Do you know?
You would have to, so there's the Ontario Human Rights Code and then the Canadian Human Rights Code. And that would be discrimination based on race.
Okay.
That's
what would be considered as, okay.
Yeah, well, not argue that, you know what I mean? Like how you would argue as in the legal term, but that's how you would approach that. You would say that is discrimination based on race. You're telling me that I can't have my hair in my natural state because you don't like its natural state.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
which is problematic.
Yeah, obviously you can't come in with a bird's nest attached to your head.
Oh yeah, you can't come in all messed up. Yeah.
But I mean, they also can't be like, we don't like your natural hair, so
fix it, change it. Yeah.
Yeah, then you'd be like, discrimination.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know there are a lot of cases happen like that in the States.
Yeah, and I just can't remember if it's the Ontario or the Canadian legislation that you would go through for racial discrimination. I apologize for that one.
That's okay. That's okay.
In the resources, I do have both published though. So
okay, cool. That's good. That's good.
Yes. Allison wants to know if we can comment. Yes, Allison, you can. I just can't promise that I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow them here.
I'll do my best. Thanks for watching. Miss you. So yeah, that's the thing on makeup. I I mean, I'm hoping that this situation, this woman asking it, isn't a serious thing where you'd have to even go that far. I'm hoping
Yeah,
by
yeah.
being like, dude, come on, like, what the fuck? That
Because
perhaps,
it weirds me out that he's watching her that closely. That
mm-hmm.
that that doesn't sit well with me.
And I
That
mean,
he's watching her that closely. Does he do it to other people or is it just to her? You know,
yeah,
shouldn't be
I
doing it
know
to
that,
anybody, but
and I know that sometimes it can be obvious. Like when I don't wear lipstick, my child asks where my lips have gone. Literally the first time he saw me without lipstick, he actually said the phrase, "Mommy, what happened to your lips? I think they disappeared." So like it is obvious, but I'm
but
assuming this
still.
manager is a grown-ass adult and not a 5-year-old. So
Exactly.
all right, do you want to do next question?
Yeah. Yeah. I read this
Okay,
one, I think.
please.
Okay.
Hopefully it's fun. Okay, so you've got the legal resources on here that, like I said, I'll put up later. Oh, this isn't fun. I really hyped this up wrong. I think it's your turn to read.
Yes.
Have fun.
Oh boy. Okay. About 6 years ago, I left an abusive situation. From the moment I left, Chad and I only communicated through lawyers. Once the divorce was finalized, I blocked him on every app and moved on. I'm now happily married in a career I love, and my mental health is relatively stable despite everything. Gestures around it, everything. Last week, Chad sent me an email asking how I was doing given the lockdown. He said he figured that since I was tough and strong, I was doing well, but he said that he was worried. Part of me wants to block the new address and add it to the list of things my therapist and I are working on, and part of me feels guilty not responding at a time when we all could use more kindness. What do I do?
Okay, are we throwing this to me first?
Yeah.
Feels like the Spanish Inquisition all over again. So my advice is block the fuck out of him. Print the email so that you and your therapist can dive in, and then block him. Block him, block him, block him, block him, block him. Because, and I'm sure if he had apologized or acknowledged his past actions in that email, the letter writer would have said that. So all this email is doing is helping his little feels feel better because he wants some attention. Abusive exes always go back to the person they abused to get their attention from. Probably doesn't give a shit that she's married, clearly wasn't asking anything about her life, just, oh, and you're tough and strong, because he fucking made her be tough and strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, my advice is to block and run. And I have a little resource list I'll pop up of domestic violence hotlines so that if this question is triggering or brings anything up, you guys can call. I just want to point out that this asshole is a horrible person for you to note in a stressful time when maybe you are more inclined to feel guilty for not responding with kindness. And I want the letter writer to know that she owes him nothing. Not her time, not her attention, not her kindness, and certainly not her guilt. Block him and run. That question, as soon as I read it, it infuriated me to my
Me
core.
too.
Because
I'm sitting here raging.
I actually have, and you can with certain email providers set it up so that not only do you block addresses, but you can block names or you can block organizations. And that's a thing I would recommend to her as well, depending on what kind of address this person used. Like with my abusive ex, I blocked every address from his company on a whole wide scale. I've had to change a lot of my settings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I would recommend that she just try to block his name straight out. Like just,
on everything,
fucking the whip, block it. What do you think?
This got my shackles up and it pissed me off because there were elements of he's setting her up to gaslight her. I know you're tough and strong. And what was the other thing? I'm checking in on you because I'm concerned. like
Mm-hmm.
kind of questioning her mental health sort of thing. And I think if she were, I agree with you 1,000%, block his ass. Block it, like you said, print it out, bring it to your therapist to like deal with it, sort of thing. But yeah, it's his contacting her has nothing to do with her. It's his ego. His ego needs stroking. It doesn't. She doesn't mention if he's remarried or if he's with somebody else. Um, but like you said, I don't know if he knows if she's married or not. He probably doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very selfish and childish thing to do from 6 years ago. Why? Like, why now? You
Yeah.
know, I find too many people are, because it happened to me. My ex wasn't abusive. He wasn't abusive, but um, not my ex-husband. I don't want to hear anything about him, but my ex-boyfriend from Toronto, we were together many, many years. Um, the same thing happened. He reached out to me uh, maybe a month or two ago, and I was like, oh, he's, I hope he's okay, sort of thing. Because I'm not going to lie and say I never thought of him or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I fell for we're all under a lot of stress. Everyone needs a little kindness. And it was a setup. It was a setup. It was a setup used to like berate me for not telling him that I moved. I don't need to tell you that I moved. I moved. It's not like I packed up in the middle of the night out of our home and left. We weren't together
Yeah.
when I left, but used it as an opportunity to be like, I was really upset when when I found out that you moved and you didn't tell me, sort of thing. And it was just like, fuck off. We're done. We're done here. We're done here, sort of thing. So don't fall for it, because 6 years have passed. You've moved on, and he needed like an ego stroke, or he just needed to mess with you one last time because
Yeah.
he felt he could. So yeah, that one, it's just block him on everything. Don't respond. Don't feel guilty. Like, talk about like, if you do feel guilty, talk that out with your therapist. Don't talk it
Yeah.
out with him. Because I did that with my therapist. I was like, look, because I told her all about him, like when I started seeing her, and I told her in one of I think my last session, and I was like, this happened, and she's like, okay, and what did we do? And I was like, I answered and like this, and she just like asked me point blank, why did you respond? I responded because of this, and then, like, how did you feel with all of these, with what he said back to you? And I was like, I was pissed off, and I didn't need that, you know what I mean? Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So don't fall for it. Block him on everything. There's nothing all you need to do is block him.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah. Right. Maybe this is the better one. We'll try this one. Okay, so, and there on the screen now are some resources. I tried to pick ones that were Canada-wide because I know that some people are probably watching from Quebec, and I didn't want to be completely Ontario-centric, although my legal knowledge is all Ontario-centric, so I apologize. Anyway, some international resources. After this ends, I'll put these up in the comments.
Okay.
Next question. Oh, can I read this one?
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's your turn to read anyway.
Perfect. Okay, so this is, I didn't write this, I promise. Okay. So, I strongly dislike being touched by most people, family members included. Being spontaneously touched makes me feel tense, anxious, and incredibly uncomfortable. Thankfully, my friends and family are respectful, asking before touching and understanding when the answer is no. Unfortunately, my mother does not act so respectfully. And I just want to point out that my mother does. So again, not me. No. The letter writer's mother does not act so respectfully. She frequently touches my clothes, my jewelry, or will rub and pat my skin. I've always reminded her that I dislike being touched, but she seems to think that this does not apply to her. Last time I snapped at her, and I know this hurt her feelings. How do I handle this so I can see my mom, but so that she won't touch me all the time?
I know this one we're going to be coming at it from two
Again, opposite
different
angles.
opposite angles. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. So I love to hug. I'm a hugger, and being a hugger, I have to realize that there are people who do not like to be touched, and it's nothing against me. You know, it's nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with me. My goal is for people to be as comfortable as possible. So if it's somebody that I know very, very well, I go in for a hug. If it's somebody that I'm like, I just met or whatever, if I'm not sure, I ask, you know, and asking, it's like, may I give you a hug sort of thing. And if they say no, that's okay. That's okay. You know, it's not personal. At least I hope it's not personal, but it's not personal, you know, and yeah, so I prefer to ask, but I'm going to be completely transparent and say that there are times that I haven't asked. And, you know, most times, like I've never like hugged someone and then like slap me away or something like that, you know, but during the hug, I was like, maybe I should have asked or something. But, you know, most of the time, like I'd say 90% of the time I will ask, and 90% of the time that I do ask, it's yes, you know, because a person appreciates the fact that I asked and they're like, okay, so I give them like a little hug. So yeah, if you're I'm not touchy feely, but I do like to hug people. I do like to touch people. But I ask first. And you got to read body language too. Like if the person's like this, maybe don't hug them, or at least ask, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, my so I'm approaching that from the like, I don't like to be touched by most people. It takes a while, and even then, not all the time. That's why comedy was really weird, because when I got into it, I was like, we're all socially awkward, it'll be great. But like, there's so much fucking hugging in comedy.
I thought you were gonna say there's so much fucking. I'm like, where?
Oh no.
Tell me.
That's a whole other episode.
That's a whole other episode.
Just so much hugging. And it was weird because when it, like, my first few open mics, you could tell you got the handshake and you got like the hand waiver and they weren't sure how you were. And that to me was almost as good as asking, because they weren't.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I'm not a fan of it. I prefer to be asked first. Even with like romantic partners, I'm not touchy-feely all the time. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I want my space.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
When I'm anxious, my skin hurts. So in particular, if I'm anxious, I don't want to be pawed at. I want them to just.
Yeah.
So my advice to this letter writer would be to refer to the how to have some difficult conversations slide that I'm going to put up later. To refer to that and to talk to mom about it, but like from a perspective where you're trying to, as the tips say, like try to understand, like ask mom why mom feels the need to touch you even though you've told her not to, and try to understand where she's coming from on that. Like, why is this behavior persisting? And maybe there's like, maybe mom's core belief in this situation is that, well, if you won't hug me, it means you don't love me. And
yeah, because this is her mother.
Yeah, and then you can negotiate how to get around that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, I'll hug you at the end of every visit, or something
at the
like
beginning, or something.
Or even like, I'll say I love you out loud more often. Like, if you are feeling not loved because of the hug, then I'll make you feel loved in another way.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the way I would approach it. Like, I had a friend many years ago who was a compulsive hugger, and I did snap at him. It's like, please stop touching me all the time. And from
Yeah.
then he like was really pissed about it, didn't talk to me for like a week. But then, was like, okay, I understand that I made you feel uncomfortable by this. I always thought that I was special, but I recognize that whenever I did give you a hug, you would tense up. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
How can I show you that I want to be affectionate without making you feel uncomfortable? And then you can go from there and find a solution.
Yeah. Because the thing is, the bottom line, it's like it's consent.
Yeah.
It's consent. Like one thing, well, not that I do this, but I like in explaining it, I would be like, replace hug with like vulva or boob. Can I touch your boob? No. Like, are you just gonna go in and touch someone's boob? No, you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? So I think it's like you have to remember that, to you it might just be a hug, but to the recipient, it's like you're touching my body. Even if you're not necessarily touching in a sexual way or anything like that, you're still touching someone's body.
Yeah.
And you need permission to do that.
Absolutely.
It's just like, say, like pregnant women, when people just go and touch their bellies. Like, I think that's incredibly rude. I've had like close friends of mine pregnant. I've never just touched their belly. Unless they're like, oh, he's moving, touch my belly. Or do you want to touch my belly? Oh, okay. But just to put your hands on someone, you can't do that.
Yeah. I always the men that put their hands on the small of your back and
I don't like that.
When that one I've never understood. I don't
like that. That's too intimate.
Unless
you're my lover, don't go there. Yeah.
But they don't do it to men. Why? Like, what? Are my lady ears too tiny to hear you say excuse me?
Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like if I'm in your way and I'm not hearing you, tap me on the shoulder. Don't put your hand on the small of my back. Like, that's too intimate. And it's like that. And this is someone who likes touch. But just because I like touch, I don't like touch from just anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did
I tell you about the time I almost punched
I don't want to hug? So, pardon me?
Did I tell you about the time I almost punched Jim Cuddy?
No.
Okay, so I swear to fucking God, I saw Tim Cuddy at Shoppers Drug Mart one day. And I came into the store and there was an old lady telling him that Lost Together was like her song with her husband or whatever. And
that old lady could have been me, Like, how old was this lady?
Oh, she was an old lady.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm an old lady too, but
like, we're talking, I mean, 70s.
Okay.
Like, full on gray, punched. Old lady attire. Okay. Like, the old lady attire. Yeah. So I'm thinking that's really cute, right? Like, how sweet. Well, I keep going about my merry little way. I'm getting, I don't know, I think I was getting an energy drink for someone, or I don't remember. I was in like the frozen, like where the, not frozen, but like where the cool drinks are. And I feel a hand on the small of my back, and someone says, excuse me. And I turn around like that, like, because I had like had a really rough day. I was going in for like, I think
you're like, who's touching me?
It was when I was still working at the Queen's Inn, so it was like it was like one of my 16-hour days. So I was just, and yeah, it was like definitely Jim Cuddy, and I was like, okay, you like might be the only man alive that can get away with. So I did not punch.
You didn't punch it. I once smacked someone in the mouth with an umbrella.
That I like.
Yeah, I was early 20s. I remember I was still living at home, and like going out, like in downtown Montreal. I lived in the suburbs, and so there was like the last bus to get back home. So my stop was coming, and I'm in it. And the thing is, the buses that went from downtown Montreal to the suburbs were like coach buses. They weren't like regular city buses, like coach buses with the reclining seats and stuff. So the narrow aisle. So I remember I was standing up, waiting in line because my stop was coming up, and I thought I was wearing a skirt, and I thought I felt something like a hand like run like up my leg sort of thing. And I remember I turned, and there was a man sit like on my right, And so I moved up. I gave him the benefit of the doubt that it was an accident or whatever. So I moved up and turned around to see the guy lean forward to run his hand up my leg, like to
Oh,
reach into the aisle. And I had my umbrella and just whack in his face like that, and then it was like, oh, you hit me, you hit me, you hit me, sort of thing. And it was like, oh, you had your hand running up my leg. Like, what did you expect? Sort of thing. And then I got off the bus. But it's like, I shouldn't have to smack someone in the face with an umbrella.
it's just disgusting.
Just don't.
All
So
right,
actually, we have a comment from Allison.
yes, I was
Going
just
back
going to say,
to
do you
the,
read Allison's comment?
yeah, yeah, going back to our question about the makeup on the Zoom call and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
she says, I've gone to my day job after closing the club and getting home a little late. Got up, went to work, and carried on with my day. A few clients asked me if I was okay, tired, not feeling well. I was tired, so I thought nothing of it. At lunch, I noticed myself in the mirror and realized that I had no makeup on. Ha ha ha. I did look tired. I was. No one was insulting me. I just forgot to cover my dark circles, and with no mascara, I just didn't look like me. It's not always negative. Girls notice when our girls look different too. I don't wear blue or sparkles, but it was noticeable. I like someone checking in on me, but if they're being a dick, they're being a dick. Exactly.
Yeah, I got the impression from this particular, like, I think it would be too, like, if I'm, well, the comedy guys. So if I'm doing like a Zoom call with the comedy guys and like Pete or Tom or someone says something like, Ash, you look kind of tired and I'm not wearing makeup, then I'm not going to assume that they're being a dick
Oh yeah, they're
because we
just
have that
having fun.
like
Yeah.
relationship.
They're playing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if it's, my manager, and not that it would happen at my place of work, but if it were like, well, it happened to me at one firm I worked at where it was a manager at work and it was meant to be dickish. So yeah, Allison, I get what you're saying, where there are times where it's just true. And like for sure, if I show up and I'm not wearing makeup and I have dark circles under my eyes, comedy dudes, if you're watching, full on, you can call me out because you have before. It's totally fine. Even like if my makeup's skewered, or I think
Yeah. Like I sneezed as I was putting something on.
yeah,
I'm
like I get it. They're fine. They can get away with it. But I think someone in a position of authority, it's a little different too.
Yeah. And again, like I said, it's a different. Yeah, I think it's a different story. It's like the whole presentable thing. If the only thing that is wrong is you're not wearing makeup, not a big deal. If you come in and you look like you've been hit by a truck and you're just a big mess, that's an issue. I think that's something where your manager has to be like, what's happening? Are you okay? If you come in, your hair is all askew and you look disheveled and things like that, that's one thing. But if it's just, other than that, you're presentable and you're not wearing makeup, no issue.
Yeah.
No issue.
All right, we have one more question. We're doing pretty well for time too, I think.
Yeah. Let's do one more. Yeah, okay. For sure.
This one's the good one, and I think you get to read it.
Okay.
So, first, so there's the tips on having difficult conversations slide.
Yeah.
And I'll put that as like a picture under in case anyone's interested. Also, if anyone's interested in things like this, my side gig, just okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Our favorite question of the day, I think.
Diane is a colleague at work. We get along fairly well and often go out for lunch with some other friends from work. Typically, we go to casual sit-down restaurants where we all enjoy an hour away from the office and with each other. We are all friends outside of the office as well. Diane routinely excuses herself by loudly announcing that she has to use the potty. At first, we tried to play it off as a joke, but it has become increasingly embarrassing. And I'm worried that some of the new hires might make fun of Diane behind her back. Has this gone on for too long? Can we say anything? I'm laughing because I'm thinking if we, like, if the two of us are at a restaurant and say some of our comedy guys were there, and I go, excuse me, I'm gonna be at, I gotta go potty. You guys would rip me to pieces.
You would, honestly, we would, first of all, we would all be fighting probably Jeff for the chance to make the most potty mouth kind of joke. But yeah, you would never in your life hear the end of it.
I would never live that down. I would
We would
never ever
chisel it,
live that down.
we would chisel it into your headstone. Like, she has to use the potty.
Even before I got up, if I announced that, before I'm even out of the chair, you guys would have just like.
You'd come back with a high chair where you're
exactly. A high chair, a little kiddie meal, or
sippy cup.
Sippy cup, but you guys would never let me live that down. You guys would tease me and roast me for the rest of my life on that.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. So, my serious answer to this one would be to take a look at those tips for having difficult conversations cards. I'd approach it from the like, I'm worried the new hires are going to make fun of you perspective because it has been going on for so long. But I got to give the letter writer and her coworkers so much credit for letting it go on this long without publicly making fun of her. Like, those are some serious points that those people have earned right there.
Because I would be more concerned with you guys making fun of me than like other people. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it's like, did they? Okay, they said that they thought it was a joke at first.
I think that's it. They played it off as a joke.
Okay, because I don't know. Maybe because the only way I can see that coming out of someone's mouth is like, say they have a little child that they're potty training. And that's how they talk to them. Okay, you gotta go potty, Because I've had my friends say they have baby brain, and so they forget that they're speaking to adults sometimes. Yeah. And so they'll use the words they use to with their kids. But I think you'd only do that once, twice, you're excessively tired, you'd say that. But if every time you're out, you're like, I gotta go potty. Yeah, something needs to be said about that. And I think approaching it, like you said, approaching it from the angle of, the new hires might eviscerate you for that. I think that's a good way to
what would you do if you like approached Diane and she was not like, she was just like, no, I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, then, okay. I don't think I would know how to respond to that. I think
I think I'd be like, okay. There's nothing else you can say. You can't say, if she's like, I don't care what the new hires think. That's how, that's the wording I like and that I use. That you can't do anything.
I 100% want Diane to come to the restaurant where I work. I want so badly to know what servers would say.
Excuse me?
If you overheard that. Like,
you're a 48-year-old woman, Diane.
Yeah, like, I very much want to know what, like, the copper server would say when he or she walks through the kitchen and across the way and over to sport and then back past my desk and tells, like, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. I guess props to every server that they've ever had, too, for not laughing out loud. They earned their
I'm sure servers have heard, like, crazy stuff, too. Oh my god. But yeah, that's like kind of like childish and it's babyish,
Yeah. I wish
you don't have to be like, I gotta go take a piss, and you don't have to be crude like that either, but
excuse me.
How about just excuse me?
Yeah.
And leave and just go do your potty.
Yeah, excuse me works wonders. I'm gonna share the screen again just to share a few more things before we go.
Okay.
Because that was our last question.
Yes.
So again, we've got these tips So if anyone has any questions they want us to tackle on our next show, which will be next Sunday at 4.
Yep.
Unless is next Sunday, what is next Sunday?
Next Sunday is the 14th, I think.
Yeah, we're both performing Sunday night next Sunday at 8 too. So if I'm anxiety vomiting.
Oh, that's next week. Oh yeah, I was thinking that was a while away, but yeah, that's next week. But
we should still be able to do it 4.
Yeah, we're not performing, or we're not performing till 8.
Yeah. So if you have questions, reach out to one of us and let us know. We reserve the right to paraphrase them, crop them down, and make them 2 paragraphs long so they fit on these slides.
Yeah. and your identity won't be disclosed.
No, I hide all names. All the names we used tonight were made up names. So yeah, I will definitely edit your stuff, remove any identifying details. Here's how you can find us online, because I'm very bad at self-promotion, so this is a new thing I'm trying. I did crowd work in the hallway the other night. Now I'm promoting myself. There we go.
So our websites, our Facebook pages. Yeah. So you can reach out to either one of us, both of us, if you have any questions that you want us to tackle.
Yeah. We'd love to answer. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So we have like episode 1 in the hatch. We've done our first one. This was fun.
Yes. And so please send us questions so that I don't have to hassle people that I know in real life for their problems.
Exactly, same.
And if you're someone I know in real life, get your friends to send us questions, or I'm going to hassle you to tell us about your problems.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you. Do you have anything you want to promote coming up? Any shows or anything you're doing?
Just this next Sunday, the show next Sunday night, the No Line to Cross comedy show next Sunday night. I want to plug Michael's collaborative comedy competition thing, because it's so much fun. I'm not doing it I've already done it like 3 times, so I feel like I should give other comedians a chance.
Yeah, I've done it a lot too.
Yeah, but it's super fucking fun, and people should register, because he has posted like looking for. I saw a thing today looking for people. So if you're a comedian and you're watching this, do that. It was so fun. I think he's looking for people for next time, and you'll be competing against Tom Hills. He won last time.
Yeah, our friend Tom won the last one.
Amazing.
He was amazing.
So funny.
Amazing. He did so well and won it deservedly. Yeah. So he's going to be defending his title at the next one, which would most likely be, I think it's on the 17th of June.
Yeah. So definitely. And I mean, register. And just watch too, because it's fun.
Yeah. And you can also submit a topic to be used in the competition. And don't be a dick about it. Something like normal.
I lost because some prick picked the Spanish Inquisition as the topic. And all I could think of was that one line from Monty Python. So not that I'm bitter, but you can pick a topic, and it's fun because you lose on the Spanish Inquisition. You can pick stuff like municipal law or whatever evil thing.
I had Trump, and I didn't win my round, but at least I got 4 minutes to bitch about Trump. So that was like the saving grace.
And it was damn close too. I mean,
it was a close. It wasn't like 0 and 100. Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty close.
I would have liked to have seen you and Tom go up at the end. It would have been really shitty for me to vote. I probably would have just abstained.
He would have been like, I'm not voting. But yeah, Michael was using the poll, so you wouldn't be able to see. Because remember before we were putting like the name in the chat and it could see like, oh, she didn't vote for me. What the fuck?
And I was checking. He was voting for me for sure.
Exactly. That's what I did before. It's like, okay, good. She voted for me. Oh, good. He voted for me. Because there were a couple. I can't remember. I think there was one time where you and Tom were competing against each other. I didn't vote.
I did not vote.
I said I cannot vote.
Well, I think when Jeff and Caroline were against each other. I didn't vote
Yeah.
either. I was
Yeah, I
like,
didn't vote for that one either. I didn't vote on that. I was like, I can't.
no, I
These are
don't
both
think
my friends. I can't. Like,
exactly.
exactly.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, exactly. It's like two friends against each other. I am not voting.
Yeah,
But
highly recommend that show. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
thank you so much.
We'll see
And
you next week.
see you next week. Bye.